Hi, Susan.
Hi, how are you?
Good. Welcome to Not Nosy, Just Curious podcast.
My favorite.
And what I want to ask you is thank you for joining me, by the way. I know you were very busy and you made time for me, so I'm very grateful. I want to ask you, what do you think, or how do you navigate rude people?
I'm actually happy that you asked me that. And first and foremost, thank you for having me on your podcast. Again, my favorite podcast.
You're only one that you listen to, but yeah,
My
being
only one that I
one and
listen
only
to.
is great. Okay, go ahead.
Rude people I find interesting because I feel it is a self-defense for a way that we're kind of like we all go out in the world every day, but we have to protect ourselves. And I think one of the ways to protect yourself is being rude, which is not right. So there's right, but there's also rude. And I was just talking to this about someone today, and I said, in today's society, we lost respect with people.
So you think respect, rude, same
Yes,
thing?
yes,
So you're saying rude people that's a defense for them. So they think they're entitled to be rude.
1000%. Yeah,
So my impatience and everything entitles me to be rude to you.
I don't agree with the word
Because
entitled, but yes.
okay, so it's
So for me, but your statement I agree with because I think that's how people think today, but I don't think that's necessarily true. The rude can come in a couple of different forms. Let's think about this. You can be rude in stand-up comedy, and that can be funny, right? You can be on stage making fun of a whole 250 people in the audience, maybe 500, and everyone's laughing. Or you can be rude with your wait staff. If you're having a nice dinner with your family, perhaps even your friends. You can be rude if you're a CEO or perhaps even the employee of somebody. Think about those three different things that I said. For instance, the first one, it's
acceptable rude.
acceptable rude, right?
Let me just be rude to the masses, which is acceptable.
Because then we can all laugh together because we're all being insulted. We're a bird that flocks together,
Stays together,
there
right?
you go. Now the second one is a CEO. That's more individual. That's called a personal attack rude, right? Because it's you're offending
So
what
is
I'm
that
doing.
a superiority rude?
Yeah, I would say that. And then the third
So
one,
then therefore it's an entitlement.
yes, yeah, it means I am higher than you on the hierarchy. Do what I say and say what I do. Like, it's
Okay.
a dictatorship.
Right.
That's really what that is.
But I take issues with small gestures, like when you hold the door open for someone and they just go through and they never say nothing to you, or you let somebody in traffic and they can't wave to you. But you know what my cousin told me? I mentioned that really pisses me off as far as, being rude. And he said, "Why are you holding the door because you want to thank you? Because if you're doing it for that, don't hold the door."
Well, that would fall under the category. That's very interesting. That would fall under the category in my world, respectable rude.
Right, respectable rude. Because
Respectable rude.
I instinctively look behind me when I open a door and hold the door, right?
Yes. But remember what we were taught like for me, like remember what we were taught in preschool, I think it was. Treat others the way you want to be treated.
But that's been lost. That's a lost art. There's somewhere along the line that is gone.
And that's completely correct. And that's what brings me back to the beginning of the conversation. We've lost respect for people. Therefore, rude has been heightened.
But why? Why don't we respect people? Why, like you said, does there have to be these varying degrees of rudeness?
Because of entitlement.
So everyone feels entitled.
I think everyone feels entitled. I think there is I think it became a phase at one point. Think about the culture that we're in, whether it's the media, whether it's songs are a big one. Think about, especially particular, and now I personally listen to a lot of R&B and rap. And there is a song that says, "I don't F with you," right? But it's
not F, like fart.
Oh no, it's the F word.
But I know.
But think about that song in particular. That song became very popular in the American culture because people felt strong listening to it because they felt that they were heard. But if you think about it, everyone's being heard, but no one's being listened to.
Oh, that's good. That's very good.
Right?
So do you feel that way?
Yeah, I do. I'm sad. Like I think about I think about the 1950s as opposed to the 2024 going into 2025. And I think people just had more respect because it was portrayed as respect. I mean, you were listening to the Beatles, right? Or not even the Beatles, that would be the 60s, but songs that were easy. And actually, I'd like to bring something up. I went to the Motown Museum. Have you been?
No, I have not.
Motown Museum was fascinating to me. I was there in 2018, and it was my first time as a Detroiter, which is embarrassing, but it was my first time I went, but it was life changing. The reason why it was life changing was because Barry Gordy created Motown when I was listening to it and listening to the history. He created Motown, and what he specifically said was it wasn't made for white people and it wasn't made for black people. It was made for all people. And that is the reason why you listen to a Motown song today and it's fun and it's got that pizzazz to it, right? Like
right.
everyone dances to it.
Right.
We need to get back to that. And I think if we get back to that, I think being rude won't be as acceptable.
But it's like you said too, though, Susan. Rude is an entitlement. Why do we feel so entitled?
Because it's been portrayed as being cool.
But I mean, it's just I'm angry at entitlement.
Tell me why.
I get angry at it
Yeah.
because if you want something, go work for it.
I
You
agree.
shouldn't just get it because you feel entitled. You know what I'm saying? You shouldn't be first in line because you feel entitled.
Let me ask you, when do you think entitlement became so big?
I want to say in the last 20 years, maybe, with the social programs and everything. Welfare was created to help. It wasn't meant to be a generational handout.
Right.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So therefore, I guess we created these lazy people who feel entitled.
Oh, I can see that. Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? I
Yeah.
mean, there are jobs. Certainly they're not living income jobs.
Right.
But I mean, I give credit to the people who stand on the corner and beg for money because they go out every day and no matter what the weather is or whatever, they go out, they're doing their job. They're smiling and they're waving.
Yeah.
They're doing a job and
Yeah.
they're doing it quite well.
Mhm.
And they are there. They show up.
Yeah.
So that to me just shows spirit and doing it, right?
But here's a question I have that you just made me think of. Is it rude when you see somebody completely healthy begging on the corner for somebody who's going to work that actually makes money?
No, you're right. I mean, you want to judge right away the person standing on the corner, right?
Yeah.
And you want to judge the worst.
Mhm.
But as I see from driving home downtown, I see that same person show up to that corner every single day. I just found it respectable.
Interesting.
I mean, it was just enterprising.
Okay.
It was finding a way to make money, right? It was building a business, right?
But if you could take the same energy that you do there, why can't you apply it some other place?
No, I agree what you're saying 100%.
That's how
Does
I-
that make that person less entitled because that's how he gets his money?
Does that make that person less entitled? Because, well, again, as I mentioned in the beginning, I don't believe in entitlement. I hate that word.
Right.
I think it's
So-
a silly word.
Well, okay, but entitlement has created rudeness.
100%, I agree with you. But I also think, you know what rudeness is also a stem of? Let's talk about the stem of rudeness. I think the stem of rudeness is insecurity.
No, you said that in the very beginning, and that made me think because that's what it is.
You have to be insecure to be rude. I worked for a lady in California, and she was a very successful realtor. However, the way she did business, I would never do business. Because whether it was an agent or mostly it was agents, sometimes the clients, the way she felt big for her being probably 5'2", she had to she had to cut them down.
Do you
And
think that was deliberate?
yeah,
So her insecurities are deliberate,
absolutely.
and that
That was her
entitled.
way to make her feel better. So if you think about an insecurity is a way to make you it's a flaw to the world, but it is a calmness to the person.
See, now for me, insecurity would make me smaller, make me cower. You know what I'm saying? I'm not the rude, puffed up, insecure type. So I
Yeah.
understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
You know, so that person just belittles other people being rude and whatever. I like that. But some insecurities cause you to withdraw,
That is true.
you
100%
know, and
that is
just
true.
go into yourself.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think that insecurity is way better than the rude insecurity.
So what do we think the solution is to stop the rudeness? Because I do not like the rudeness. I am not
Well,
one
how
for the
about
rudeness.
driving in California? That's got to be the epitome of rude. Driving has
Driving-
become a real category of rudeness in itself.
Correct.
I mean,
all day
everyone,
long.
yeah.
I mean, I've never seen the middle finger so much in my entire life.
Right?
Where you see it and you're like, I think people get used to it. And
But
I
I mean,
think when you see something and you see something, thank you
so
for
you're
asking that
just
question.
desensitized to it.
Completely desensitized. So you start seeing things and you start seeing things and you start thinking, oh, I guess that's normal.
Yeah, but I mean, can you be a courteous driver if everybody else is acting rude? I think you get pulled into the rude driver
Yeah.
mentality with everybody else.
Yeah. No, I agree with you on that. I think at the end of the day, it is who you are. You got to be who your heart is. For instance, I live in California. I live in Los Angeles, Marina Del Rey specifically, and I deal with rudeness all day long. But my goal every day, as soon as I put my two shoes on and I walk out because I like where I'm going, I smile. Let me give you a great example. I take a 5-mile walk, probably 3 or 4 times a week. People in Michigan smile at me. People in California do not. So my goal when I'm walking next to someone is to smile at them every single day.
And what's the reaction? Do they smile back?
Sometimes.
And then when they don't smile, do you go, oh, rude?
I do.
You do.
I do. And actually, I'll probably judge a little if I may be very honest. But I also think just keep smiling because I don't know what that person's going through.
That's all very mature, but it's action reaction often, Susan. It's cause and effect.
It is cause and effect.
Yeah.
But here is I don't want to be rude to that person. That person might have been rude to me. And I think the way to defeat rudeness is to not be rude. Like if we want to end something, kill it by killing it with kindness.
That's profound, but sometimes hard to execute.
But anything that's hard to do
is worth doing.
It's worth doing.
Well, I haven't been moved like that.
Why?
I don't know. I haven't been around kind enough people, I guess.
Don't fall into the crowd. Be the leader.
Oh, I could be the leader.
Yeah, that's how I look at
things.
But
I probably choose not to.
Well, that's a choice. That's a rudeness choice.
Yeah, that's a choice. Yeah. That's a choice.
That's a choice.
But a lot of times I don't say what I'm thinking.
Well,
that's good. I'm thinking really bad thoughts.
Yeah, and
I
a good
squash it down.
Yeah.
I'm not squashing it with kindness, though, but I am squashing it down.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it is everything you do in life is practiced.
Yes.
Like the smiling is practiced.
Yeah.
Maybe someday you go out there and you're running, you don't feel like smiling.
Or I'm having a bad day myself.
Yes.
There are days where I go out and I need to go for a walk because I'm far away from my family. I'm far away from my friends. I'm personally having maybe a bad day at work, as we all do, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I just need to cry.
Do you cry?
And I put sunglasses on. And those are the days, I will tell you, those are the days I call my mom. Because after my walk, those are where miracles happen. Because the days that I have smiled at people when they're not smiling back at me are the days that the people smile at me most. And I believe that's karma.
Do you?
I do. And actually that story could actually bring me to tears right now just thinking about it. But there was a day where I was having the worst day, absolutely worst day. And I go, oh gosh. I talked with Erica and I talked with my mom. I talked with my sister. They're like, just go for a walk. That brings you comfort.
Mhm.
I said, okay, I'm going to go for a walk. Just a bad day. My same routine that I go out to the ocean, I go back. That day, I had a woman with her husband, an older woman. I was wearing a Michigan State t-shirt in Marina Del Rey. And they go, oh my God, are you from Michigan? And I'm thinking, out of all days, I don't want to talk to anybody.
Okay.
Do you ever have
Were you
those
being
days?
rude?
Yeah.
You were being rude.
No, but I'm thinking in my head, I do not want to talk to anyone. I don't want to talk to anyone. And I wanted to be rude.
Mhm.
I wanted to be rude.
But you swallowed it back.
But I swallowed it back. I took it in. And she goes, oh my gosh, I live right down the street. And the street that she particularly lives down is a very high-end street. She goes, we would love to have you over for a cocktail. Out of nowhere. Out of absolutely nowhere. On the worst day that I had, this particular older woman and her husband were like, yeah, we're Michigan Staters. This is great.
So, okay, typically
Mhm.
you would like, oh, what do they want, right? Why are they
Oh, yeah.
inviting me? And you'd be very suspicious of that
Mhm.
and not welcome that gesture at all.
Yeah.
So, was it because of your state, your mindset originally that you opened up to this invitation?
Because I was sad. I was in a weak, vulnerable state.
And you went over their house.
Well, I have her number, but the fact is the invitation was there
Mm-hmm.
on a day that I felt it.
Well, here's the thing that's baffling to me. A stranger would invite you over, to have what I live down here. I mean, we don't do that no more as a society. We don't invite people.
No.
Nobody comes over no more. Everybody, there's no more of that.
But we need to get back to that. And I think the fact is, I think it happens more than we see. And I think one of the major contributors, because we've already talked about the problem, we're hoping for a solution. We talked about that. Let's talk about why it's still there. We talked about social media, but I think the biggest one is the main media. The main media finds it very easy to whether it be a celebrity, a politician, if they don't like what they're saying, they will knock them down so much, and then they will create some type of crowd, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
That will follow them. Oh yeah, they're right. That's not right. So maybe we need to figure out, why is that happening?
So why even watch the news? I mean, you're not
Well,
learning nothing from it. Yeah, I don't either.
Yeah.
Because it's not informative anymore. It's like you said, it's very opinionated and very, driven that way to create animosities and stuff. So maybe that's why we're so rude, because if somebody doesn't agree with our ideas or our beliefs, then we're rude and nasty to them.
Well, 1000%. And another idea that you just sparked for me was, it's particularly, and I hate to say that because I'm proud to be an American, very proud to be an American, but the American culture has become very rude. And
rude and angry.
And the reason why I say that is, I just had a life-changing experience this past summer in which I have family in Italy. They have never met me. I've never met them. I called 2 weeks. I totally pulled, basically a Chevy Chase from National Lampoon Vacation. And the welcome that I got from there was like, where are you staying? No, you're going to stay with me. That's like everything. How would it have gone in America? Where are you staying? Oh, this is the hotel. I'll meet you at dinner.
Well,
right?
Yeah, right.
So the way they did it was basically being connected with humans. The way we do it is out of fear.
Susan, so therefore, again, the disconnect causes the rudeness. And is it the social media that causes it? I mean, I don't know. I'm not on social media, so I really don't know. But it's such a platform now. I mean, people are getting their news and everything from that.
Yeah, TikTok,
also.
Instagram.
Yeah. So it's become all consuming.
Yeah. And maybe the way to have a solution to this would be to start showing things in America of being nicer, saying, oh, this person, I did this for this person today, or I had leftovers. And instead of filming your friend being wasted, and doing an Instagram story, maybe film something that says, hey, I had leftovers, and just say, I dropped it off here.
So when you're on your job and
Mhm.
somebody's treating you rudely and being, with contempt, how do you circumvent that for the sale?
It depends on the situation. So I think every story is different. So for instance, if I need to get the sale through, which I always do, um, I'll get it through. But if it's an agent just wanting to talk not nice to me,
Mhm.
I will put them in their place
You
and I
will.
will be rude back.
You will.
Yes, I will. And I have no problem with that because you got to think about this is very interesting. You've got to think about why that person's doing it. It's like a rude person is talking to another rude person and there's no productivity, I think that's actually
So
okay.
you don't think that's a superiority thing and who's bucking for the power in that
Yeah,
situation there?
no, I think it's a way to tell somebody, stop what you're saying. What you're saying is rude. How I'm going to react to you is the way you're speaking to
Right,
me, and
right.
that's it. But if it's something in terms of maybe a client talking rude to me, but I need to get the sale through, I will take it. I will listen to it. I will be kind to that person. And the more kind I am, because I have to understand where they're coming from. They're spending with my
I
particular business.
understand they are spending a lot of money, but again, that's a practice. That's a superpower.
But at the end of the day, it's not that I take it in. I listen to them. I understand them. But again, sometimes the best way to talk to a rude person is to say exactly what they're saying to you back to them.
So mirror the whole thing.
Mirror them.
Yeah.
Do you like, let me give you an example. If somebody said something to me that was completely rude, and I said do you know you just said this back to me? They would say, what do you say back to that? But it's also in the delivery. It's in your voice. It's in your tone. So it's the way you deliver it. Now, people
True.
today, they don't. People today, one, don't know how to communicate because of social media, and two, they don't know how to deliver. They don't know how to deliver a message. There is a way you can tell someone to f off, and then you can tell someone to f off, but it's all the way you say it,
True.
and that's part of it's part of either being you're rude or she was funny.
True. Okay. So once again, it's that social criticizing masses
Mm-hmm.
kind of thing.
Yep. Yeah. But again,
But you have to know the differences.
you have to know people.
But you have to know you have to know your audience,
1000%.
right? You have to know when you can be rude and when you can't. Like, my sense of humor can be misunderstood as rude until you know me,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
With no malice intended.
Correct.
But it's rude funny, but it's not funny to some people.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
Like you were saying when you were doing stand up, you were being very rude, but 250 people thought it was funny.
That's right.
So it was acceptable.
It was acceptable. But because of the reason why they were there, they paid money to laugh. And they thought, wow, I could really resonate with that. And the other part of rudeness is the lack of emotional intelligence that we have. So
Explain that.
we have been in a society where go to school, go to high school, go to college, get your grad degree, get your PhD. But you're reading and you're writing and you're learning, but not one person ever sat down and said, let's talk about your heart. Let's talk about emotional intelligence. Let's talk about what other people think. Let's talk about how other people believe or feel.
So when you talk to somebody, you talk with great sincerity and you're talking from your heart.
Mhm.
And if they don't respond, is that rude?
No, I have to.
Are they
I have
being
to
rude?
I have to understand that that's who they
Their
are.
emotional intelligence is it.
Well, I also no. Yes and no. So for me, I have to understand where that person is. So like when I'm doing real estate, I have to know. Honestly, I kind of go with the zodiac signs on this, and I know you're going to find me crazy on this, but like if I'm dealing with an Aquarius is all about thinking, thinking, thinking. So they think when they're even sleeping. I know I'm dealing with an analytical person. And that person is not necessarily going to be like me, a Cancer, loving, feeling, I want to love on you, I want to do this. I want to protect you. That is complete opposites.
So you really feel the zodiac signs reflect people's personalities.
I do.
I mean, you think you're right on something there. You think people, for the most part,
Yeah. And I think there's a little, I also think in that aspect, an Aquarius may say a Cancer is rude, and Cancer may say an Aquarius is rude. For instance, if someone in my business, people that speak fast don't believe people that speak slow. People that speak slow do not like people that speak fast.
really,
Mhm.
I don't think I've encountered anyone who talks fast.
That's the truth. Like that's actually was a national study. And it was very interesting because it's when you talk this, because they can't resonate. When you don't resonate with someone, rudeness kicks in. And when you don't resonate with someone, trust doesn't kick in. When you don't resonate with someone, relationships don't kick in.
That's deep.
That's how I think.
Well, what do you ask somebody their birthday? First of all, before we develop any kind of relationship here, I need to know your birthday.
No, not at all. I mean, I'll ask them what their profession is.
I mean, have you ever had a customer where you just could not work with them and they thought you were rude?
I've been misrepresented by customers, meaning like, and it's only happened once where somebody thought I was something else, and I thought, but that's not what I said, and that was rude to me. In my opinion, I thought, how rude.
You did, right?
Yes.
Instantly.
Instantly. Yes. I thought, how rude. Like, really? People are so sensitive in today's culture. You say anything and you're rude. I said something to my friend the other day, and it was a joke.
That's what we just said.
But it was a one-on-one joke. And she said rude.
She did.
She did. She goes, that's rude. And it was about.
Was it sensitive? Were you hitting
It was something so not sensitive. It was something that.
So you didn't tell her how good she looks since her nose job or anything like that?
No. It was a friend at the yacht club that I'm at. And I met her sister and I go, I like her more than you. And I was joking. And she goes, rude.
Oh.
And I thought, that was a joke.
You were
Who cares?
so misunderstood.
I was misunderstood.
Your delivery sucked.
My delivery sucked.
As you just said, it's how you say it.
Yep.
Your delivery just sucked.
This is coming full circle.
She did not. She was not buying that. You failed. Rude.
Yep, rude. I got rude.
You got rude.
I didn't get a ha like I would have gotten.
Right.
I got
rude. Yeah. And you went for the laugh too. So what else you think about rude? I like what you said in the beginning, how rude is so, it's such a security thing.
It is.
I never thought of it like that.
Yeah, it is. Just because of the lady I worked for. I mean, she was one of the top agents in Los Angeles. She doesn't live there anymore. But the way she conducted herself made her, the more rude she was, the bigger she felt.
Oh, yeah, of course. And probably the more successful also, right?
Unfortunately, and that's sad. So why do we reward rudeness is my question.
No, absolutely. I don't get it.
I don't get it.
So therefore, kindness gets pushed to the back because it's not rewarded. Not that you're kind to be rewarded. Mm-hmm. You don't hold the door because you want to thank you.
Right.
You hold the door because you're holding the door. You know what I'm saying?
I agree.
So I'm holding the door for all the wrong reasons. Screw that. I'm not holding it no more. I'll be rude.
Wait, why did you originally hold the door?
I held the door out of kindness. Somebody was coming through. Don't you do that? Does everybody do that? Yes, but apparently some people don't.
But if you stop holding the door, then you're contributing to the rudeness of society.
Absolutely. And I think that's where I want to be right now with the masses. Feelings don't get hurt no more. You know?
Do your feelings get hurt?
Well, if I don't get it, but like my cousin said, if you're doing it for a thank you, don't do it. Because, then they just walk through and then you snottily go, you're welcome. But you know what I mean? Why? Why do you even have to say anything, right?
But if you do get a thank you, isn't it kind of desensitized because people just naturally say that?
They don't.
They don't. Oh, they
don't.
Okay.
You pay attention. They don't.
Mm-hmm.
And I think women are bigger offenders at not saying thank you.
Well, you know what I noticed? You talked about driving out in LA, and I want to come back to that. Driving in LA, when you get in front of someone, nobody does
They
the
don't wave.
anymore.
Well, that bothers me too.
That bothers me too.
Doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you let them in.
Yes.
You let them in. And they can't do one of these?
Yeah.
Why? I didn't have to let you in, but see, there we go. If
But
I
then it
was
goes-
expecting the wave,
But then it goes back to who's raising these people.
well, I think they were all raised right. They just lost themselves at some point. They became just an adult.
Yeah, I disagree respectfully.
You do.
Yes, I do. I think these people were not raised right because they weren't raised with respect. And I think because society in America has changed so dramatically over the years. I mean, our divorce rate is so high. People aren't having kids anymore. I mean, there is just so many problems in this country, a country that I'm proud to be of because I will always be an American. If you're not raised right, then how? If Maya Angelou once said, "When you know better, you do better."
True. And I just read a book. It said the way you do anything is the way you do everything.
That's right.
Right?
I like that. I love that.
So I thought, wow, that's really telling. How do I do anything? I don't even know how I do anything. What do I do? Because it said the way you do anything is the way you do everything.
Right.
So if you're competitive,
Mhm.
that's how you're going to do everything.
Yeah.
If you're lazy and uninterested, that's how you're going to do everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I
Yeah.
thought simplicity, as simple as that was, it made me question, well, what is my MO exactly? You know, how would you say, okay, the way I do anything, what do you do? Are you task oriented? Are you
Goal.
Yeah. Yeah, are you? And that's how you do everything?
Well, I think the only reason why we're here is we all have to have a goal. I mean, there's a reason why we get up in the morning.
See, I don't know, Susan. I'm probably the least competitive person in the world.
No, same. I'm not.
I don't care to win the game.
Yeah,
I'll play, but I'm not in it to win it.
but you have, but at the end of the
I'm
day,
not angry about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm
No, I'm
not
the same way.
competitive at all. I don't care if we run down the street. I don't got to win the race. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? I'm not competitive like
yeah, I
that.
definitely would not win the race. I think there's got to be a reason, a season, something that gets you up every morning to say, I gotta go out into the world. The problem, though, again, in our personal country, is we do everything like you gotta be on the road. You gotta do this.
Yeah.
You gotta be better than that person. You gotta know this person. This program is better. This is great. That's great. This and this. But Europe, when I was in Europe, it's calm and things get done.
And did that disturb your restlessness, the calm?
I am not a person that's able to rest easy because
Right.
I can't rest here. It's hard for me. When I was in Europe, I felt calm.
Really?
Yeah, because I enjoyed the way they had a cocktail. It wasn't 50 drinks. It was a couple of drinks here. All right, we'll see you at dinner. The food was delicious.
Oh yeah.
You know, and I actually think that's the reason why maybe we are more rude. The way we're eating, maybe the way we're drinking. I mean, we drink a ton here in America. Which
is it more since COVID?
I think it's always been.
You do?
Yeah, I think it's always been.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's always been. I don't think since COVID. But I think what we're putting in our food makes a huge difference. Over there, it was different. And now were people rude over there? Yes. But it was a rude that they put you in your place.
Right. So it was a very rude.
It was
far from subtle. It was certainly understood. I'm being rude to you right now, and that's it.
Yeah, because in America, we do passive aggressive rude.
Mm-hmm.
There, they do straightforward rude. I would take a straightforward rude any day over a passive aggressive. What would you take?
I really am not. I don't like rude. I guess I would take.
Oh, I hate rude, but
no, I know. If I have to just pick, you might just go ahead and be aggressively rude.
Right. Might as well just do it.
Yeah, just go on and do it. Don't be sneaky behind my back and be rude.
Because then that opens up a whole other
chain of
crap. A crap. Yeah.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So,
Mhm.
because now you're questioning their trust, you're questioning a lot of other things.
So do you think rude and trust go hand in hand?
Yes.
You do.
Mhm.
Explain.
When you're straightforward rude, that person is telling you from their heart what they mean, and they're saying exactly what they want.
So if I'm going to be rude, I'm just like, you know what? I don't like you and I don't like your hair.
I'd
either.
rather take that.
Really.
hmm
So then we don't have a trust issue.
Yes. Because now if you went and said the same thing to me and said, hey, you talked about hair, right? Like something like, oh, it was a backhanded compliment. Oh my gosh, you look great today. Did you get a haircut? Right? And then you went and told your 3 other friends. And then from your 3 other friends, I had to hear about it. Now I got a party of rudeness.
That's good, right? Now you
Right?
got a crowd.
I got a crowd of rudeness. I wasn't looking for the crowd.
But you weren't looking. So you
because
would
I was looking for that direct relationship.
Right. And even though you didn't trust me, or you did trust me, if
I
would've
trusted you,
just
but
said,
now
"Nope,
not only do I not trust you,
I don't like
you
you
were rude
either."
to me. I don't like you, and now you brought a whole. Now we've got a production. Is there a camera rolling? Because we need a director, we need
Right.
a script writer.
Right.
We're about to make a movie.
Right. So I mean, are they rude because they're over there discussing? Is that rude?
Yeah,
That's rude.
Yeah, now you're bringing in company. You're talking about of me to other people.
Right.
I mean, this is a whole production that we're talking about. As long as the person that was straightforward with me, I feel like I was in confession. It's me and the priest.
Okay.
Right?
Right.
The priest tells me, I tell the priest what I done.
So when the priest says to you, "Oh my God, you've been bad. Go out there and say 700 million Hail Marys." Are you going to go, "How rude are you?" 700? I don't deserve 700.
Right?
Right?
No, but at least he was telling me what I
Right to
needed.
your face.
Yeah. I didn't have, that's another thing. I didn't have to hear it through someone else. Tell me what you feel.
We're just not tellers like that now. We're just like
But why?
sneaky little. I don't. Well, we're afraid. Once again, like you said, our security. We lack confidence or whatever to say it, so we sneak around. Right.
I think you're right.
Right. Because it's easy.
But I also think social media made an impact on that. When you're popular in high school before social media happened, you want to be with that popular guy, right? Like you want to be with that popular person. Think of social media as the popular person. If you don't get the likes and you don't get that, then you're
That's
not cool.
it's just so sad to me.
And that's preposterous.
Yes.
You're correct.
Right.
But now that is what our quote unquote culture is. So if that's not cool at that time, then you're going to be rude to that person, whether you believe that person or not. You want to be part of the coolness.
How about all that anonymous rudeness? Like the no onus in it. Well, they're just idiots. They can write this terrible stuff rudely
Mhm.
and can be completely anonymous. So there's rude people on the social arena have carte blanche.
Right.
Right? Because
Right.
there's no accountability.
Right.
Well, there's no accountability for rude much anymore, but that more so than face to face.
So my last thing for you, I would love to ask is, does rudeness go along with freedom of speech?
Yeah. Right? I have the right to say what I want, given the new society we're in. We're all puffed up and get to say whatever we want, despite whose feelings it hurts. Yeah, we get to be rude.
We get to be rude because then what happened
it's my First Amendment right?
Correct.
Freedom of speech.
Because at one point they were trying to get rid of rudeness by censored and by being cultured.
Right.
Or censored and being canceled. Sorry.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah. And speaking of rude. So let's close this up.
All right. Sounds good.
All right. Finish. Give me a quick closure.
Quick closure.
Rude. Give me a word. Okay, let's dissect the word rude. RUDE.
Oh man.
Give me a word for the R.
I would say right.
U.
I would just say you.
Okay. D.
Don't.
E.
Equal.
right? You don't equal.
Yeah.
Good, right? So
Yeah.
if you were saying it in a sentence out of order, makes
Yeah.
sense, Susan.
Yeah. Like,
You don't have the right.
yeah.
We're all equal.
We're all equal, right? You, yeah.
You did good with that.
I don't know. You put me on the spot
That
with that
was
one.
good. Damn. All right. You do this again with me. I have another good one for you.
I would love to. I love doing this. This is so much fun.
All right. I think we did good with this. I have another real good one for you.
Well, thank you for having me.
Oh, thanks for being there for me, Susan. I appreciate it. I got to keep myself active here.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.